Hello, thank you for joining me. We're leaving Dover today, heading to Southampton with some Atlantic cod fillet. I have to say I'm a little bit confused about the logistics of this one. How cod from the Atlantic goes east to Dover and then west again to Southampton. But I guess we'll just take it for what it is. I'm well aware that there are supply chains in the world that make even less sense than that. I'm sure they make sense on some level, for the company's overall efficiency, rather than just looking at it on a per item basis. I know, for instance, I used to live in South Wales, and despite there being a major Amazon facility in South Wales, in Swansea I think, and I lived in Cardiff, very often I'd order something, it would come out of Swansea, it would go to Bristol, right past me in Cardiff, all the way to Bristol, and then they'd turn it around and send it back to me in Cardiff. And that's essentially for the overall efficiency of the company's operations. In that case, most likely actually being Royal Mail handling those deliveries rather than Amazon. Rather than making each item more efficient, which ends up making the company on the whole less efficient in many cases. So we'll assume something similar is afoot with this cod. So if you're wondering why the last episode finished in the dark of night time and this one is beginning in broad daylight, well, the answer to that is fairly simple. I went and found a place to park up and rest, rather than end up having to do that mid-job, mid-episode. So we should have a clear run now to Southampton. I'm interested to see what roads we will go on. So I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what roads are in the game on the south coast of England. I know, for instance, places such as Brighton, Chichester, and Portsmouth, which realistically we would expect to pass on this journey, they're not in the game. At least I'm pretty sure they're not. As I've said before, I don't tend to spend a lot of time in this game actually in the UK, which is partly why I've started in the UK on this profile. If I don't start here, I can't promise I'll ever get here. Tunnel and Folkestone. As you can see there on that sign. So we will most likely be heading in there and using that particular facility at some point in a future episode. Never know, we might not. We might go via Plymouth, we might go via Dover. We may even go via a port in East Anglia, I believe, one of the ones in Essex, I think. Links up to Rotterdam. I forget which. There is also, or there was, at least, a ferry route in the game from Newcastle to, I think, Bergen in Norway. Now, I haven't checked recently, so I'm not sure if that is still in the game. Last time I needed to use it, I'm fairly sure it was. But I'm also fairly sure I heard that in real life, that route no longer exists. So presumably, if it hasn't been taken out already, it will be at some point. So there are a number of routes that we could use when it comes time to leave the UK and head out to the continent, which we'll probably do shortly after getting the next truck. And I don't intend to keep this one for particularly long. It's not one of my favourites. There's nothing wrong with it per se, it's just not one of the ones that I favour. The eternal debate in this game has been whether Scania or Volvo is best. And while they are both absolutely fine, and I do like the Scania especially, I forget which Scania, is it the R or the S. I've actually often found myself in the unusual position, let's say, the unpopular opinion. I actually really like the Renault Premium. Is it the Premium? I think it's the Premium. The smaller of the Renaults. It's sort of the butt of many jokes, if you like, or has been over the years. But I think it's fine. They say it lacks power. I mean, it's not got such powerful options as Volvo and Scania have available. Sure. It's not going to be ideal for the heavy transport missions. But for general cargo, it's more than adequate. I've not had any issues with it, and it's probably the truck I've used most. They say it looks ugly. I can see where they're coming from with that one. But it also has the best field of view of any truck. It's a huge, huge front window. And being a little bit lower to the ground actually does it no harm either, especially for urban driving. So, you know, everyone's entitled to their own view on what trucks they do and don't like in the game. I know the Renault Premium is not the most popular. It is one I like. I don't know if it's the one I'll settle on for this profile. I wish this guy would make up his mind what he's doing. I don't know if I'll settle on the Renault Premium for this profile, because it's the one I've mained for the last 2 profiles I've used, I think. So I may mix it up this time and end up with a Volvo or a Scania or even a Mercedes, because I haven't driven the Mercedes trucks a great deal. I find that their interiors are not quite as well done as some of the other brands. However, I did pick up rather belatedly the Actros tuning pack quite recently, so that might make a difference. It might make Mercedes a more attractive option to me. We shall see. I also got the DAF XF tuning pack. DAF is also a brand I've not driven a great deal, so I may try and give DAF more of an opportunity, more of a chance this time as well. But that's all for much further down the road. For now, let's just worry about getting to Southampton in one piece, which I think that truck up ahead may not want me to do, judging how he was driving a short while ago. Let's see what he does this time. This green car's going to go, the white one's going to slow down and let us go. This Mr. Macarisi here is signalling left, so he's not going to be an issue. Of course, that's a 3-lane road. We need to get into the middle lane because we're not allowed to be in the fastest lane on the 3-lane carriageway, although the game does not actually enforce that rule. Looks like we're leaving the road here as well, also taking a left turn towards Southampton, which would make sense, Southampton being our destination. Of course, I understand perfectly well why many places, such as Brighton, Chichester, Portsmouth, being the examples in this case, aren't in the game. Perfectly reasonable. But, of course, the inherent downside to that is they're not really there either as indicators of how close you are to your destination. Being familiar as I am with southern England, those would be reference points for me. But no matter, it is what it is. arrived in Southampton now. We are here. Just have to find our way to whichever company it is we're delivering to. Which appears to be TNT. So we'll do a proper parking job here as well. Don't want to go too far out into the road. And I'd say that is a wrap. So thank you once again for joining me for another leg of our trucking adventure here. If you've liked what you've seen, you know what buttons to press down below, and hopefully you'll join me again for the next journey. I'm just going to pick up a high value cargo level here. Oh, I've pressed something wrong there. Okay. So we've got an email here from the bank. They're offering me an even larger loan. Well, we'll look into that next time. Thank you again, as I've said, for joining me. And next time, we will see where the winds of fate take us. Goodbye.